My name is Anthony Peake. I'm a writer, and one of the areas of fascination in my books is the concept of time and how we perceive time, and whether indeed time is a construct of the mind or not. This is the reason why today we're in this wonderful museum here up in Prescot on Merseyside. This museum has a wonderful collection of clocks and such like, and it's places like this that really give you the idea of exactly how time has developed through the ages and how we perceive time as well. B Priestley was fascinated by time theories to the extent that he actually wrote 3 time plays. And these plays were I Have Been Here Before, Time and the Conways, and An Inspector Calls. In these plays he deals with the idea of how time is perceived by the people involved. He also wrote a fascinating book called Man and Time, which was published in 1961. And in this he discussed the ideas of precognition and the ability that human beings have under certain circumstances to see the future. So clearly this was something that really interested him, and this book is very well worth reading if you get the opportunity, because it will give you an idea of exactly what Priestley is trying to convey in his plays. B Priestley was strongly influenced by an Anglo-Irish aeronautical engineer by the name of J.W. Dunn, who wrote a fascinating book in 1927 called An Experiment with Time. And J.W. Dunn's ideas were really very, very popular with the intelligentsia in the 1930s. James Joyce, for instance, was fascinated by the idea. Virginia Woolf, T.S. Eliot. Dunn suggested that we observe time linearly. We perceive it from the past to the present to the future in a sequence. I've always used the analogy, it's rather like somebody looking outside of a train window. You're looking out of the window and you're looking straight out through the window. As you do so, a station comes past. That station in the distance when you can't see it is your future. As the station comes into your vision, it becomes your present and then becomes your past. Now effectively that's how most human beings perceive time, and that's how observer 1 perceives time. However, in serial time ideas, it is like observer 2 is somebody sitting on the top of the train, and that person can see the tracks into the future and can see the past as well as part of a continual present. In the play Time and Conways, it's a play in 3 acts, and in the first act you have Kay Conway celebrating her 21st birthday party. As the act comes to an end, Kay goes into a form of trance-like state on stage. When Act 2 starts, you see Kay in clothing of the late 1930s. The stage is a good deal more austere. It gives a wonderful idea of the changes of time and the way people change during that time. And she's clearly far older. So something peculiar has happened. Now initially the audience won't necessarily make this link, they'll just think it's a typical theatrical device of moving into the future. It's only as the act starts to come to an end that Kay starts to act oddly, as if she's a little bit confused. And what happens at the end of Act 2 into Act 3, Kay suddenly finds herself back in her own past, reliving 1919 again, with the knowledge of future events and the knowledge of how each of the characters will be affected by the events of that evening. And this is again Priestley suggesting that for some reason Kay has been able to access time 2 or time 3 within her own subconscious, and in fact has observed as observer 2 or 3 her own future, and has then gone back to being observer 1. And that's the device of the play, and that's the beauty of the play, because the play is also trying to convey B Priestley's interest in how time changes us.